So let's just imagine for a second. What if you had to build your entire life from scratch? No blueprint, no instructions. Well, today we're going to dive into a pretty radical guide for becoming the architect of your own life. And it all kicks off with this story about a broken compass.
Just think about that. For generations, maybe even centuries, there was this one thing that gave everyone direction, meaning, truth, you name it. And then, poof, it's just gone. This isn't just some story, It's a really powerful metaphor for a huge shift in how we see the world.
Yeah, that shattered compass? That's what the philosopher Friedrich Nietzsche was talking about when he famously said God is dead. Now, he didn't mean it literally. He meant that those traditional, external sources of value and morality, they'd lost their grip, their absolute authority. Suddenly the old maps are useless, and we're all standing in this brand new, totally uncharted territory. And that's a really dangerous place to be. Because when the old meaning just vanishes, it's so easy to just throw your hands up and say, well, I guess there's no meaning at all. And that right there is nihilism, the belief that life is completely pointless. It's like staring into a deep, dark abyss and seeing absolutely nothing. But what if that's not the end of the story? What if there's another way?
So, here we are, standing at the edge of this abyss. We've got a choice to make, really. Do we just fall into the void, or do we figure out a way to string a rope across it?
And this is where it gets interesting. Some people, instead of giving in to despair, they look at that void and they see an opportunity. They realize that not having a map isn't a curse. It's actually freedom. The freedom to draw your very own map.
This idea of a tightrope, it's the perfect picture of what Nietzsche thought about the human condition. We're all that person on the rope, right? Stuck in the middle. Behind us is our past, our more primitive animal side. And ahead of us, well, that's a future we get to create for ourselves. But man, that walk is not easy. It's dangerous.
And what's waiting at the other end of that rope? That's the ideal Nietzsche called the Übermensch, or the Superman. And hey, let's be clear, forget the red cape and flying. This has nothing to do with being a superhero who saves the day. It's all about becoming the architect of your own life. It's about having the guts to build a life based on values that you chose, that you created.
Okay, so how do you actually do that? How do you walk that tightrope? How do you go from just following the old rules to making up your own?
Well, the biggest thing is you have to stop looking outside yourself for approval. It means you got to break free from what society expects of you. All those shoulds and oughts that we inherit from a world where the compass is already smashed to pieces. Instead, you become the one who decides where the path goes. You plant the signposts.
It's kind of like a four-step process to get there. First, you have to look that void right in the eye. You face the idea of meaninglessness, and you don't back down. Second, you make a conscious choice to throw out the old maps, to ignore the pressure from everyone telling you who you're supposed to be. Then comes the hard part. You start building your own internal values. Those are your new signposts. And finally, after all that, you become what we call a sovereign individual, the true master of your own life.
But let's be real, that sounds incredibly hard. So what is it that powers this journey? What's the engine that could possibly drive someone to do all this?
It has to come from inside you. It's this constant internal fire. And this is so important. This isn't about having power over other people. Not at all. It's about having power over yourself. It's the drive to smash your own limits, to grow, and to always be pushing to become something more. Nietzsche had a name for this inner fire, the will to power. He saw it as this basic drive in everything alive, this impulse to grow, to push, to reach for your absolute highest potential. And for the person trying to build their own life, this is the fuel. It's the engine for creating your own meaning. And we've really got to clear something up here, because this is probably one of the biggest misunderstandings of Nietzsche's work. People hear will to power and they think it means this ugly, brutal desire to dominate and control other people. But that's just not what he meant. His idea was so much deeper. It's about the internal, creative drive to master yourself, to achieve your own personal greatness.
All right, so you've faced the void, you're building your own values, you're running on this inner engine of self-mastery. You're doing it. But there's one last test, and frankly, it's kind of terrifying.
So how can you be sure? How do you really know if the life you're making for yourself is authentic? That it's so truly yours that you'd bet everything on it? Well, Nietzsche came up with a pretty intense thought experiment to figure that out.
Picture this. You're alone. Maybe it's the middle of the night, and this figure appears. And it tells you, this life you're living right now, With every single high, every crushing low, every mistake, every boring Tuesday, you're going to have to live it all over again. And again. And again. Exactly the same. For all of eternity. How would you react? Would you scream in horror? Or would you feel joy?
You see, that question gets to the heart of it all. The ultimate goal is to live a life that's so fully yours, so meaningful to you, that you wouldn't just accept having to repeat it, you would embrace it with joy. Imagine being able to look back on everything, the good, the bad, all of it, and shout, yes, let's do it again. That right there, that's the ultimate sign of self-mastery. It means you've built a life that you can 100% own.
And of course, that flips the question right back on us, doesn't it? Are you living a life right now that you would choose to repeat forever? Are the decisions you're making, the values you live by, are they really, truly yours?
Because at the end of the day, that's what all of this is. It's a call to action. The old compass is broken. The old maps are gone. So now we're all handed a pen. The challenge, and also the incredible freedom, is to have the courage to pick it up and to start writing your own story.